The shocking gaps in seller's disclosure Form 2. What buyers won't be told. George Souris, Empire Legal, shooting from beautiful Spring Hill today. Queensland's property landscape changed on the 1st of August 2025. Every seller now needs to provide a seller's disclosure statement Form 2 before a contract is signed. This reform is designed to improve transparency and protect buyers. But here's the thing. Form 2 isn't a complete safety net. Some of the biggest risks that you could face as a buyer are not covered at all. Before you sign on the dotted line, here's some things that you won't find in a Form 2. Let's break it down. Number 1, flooding. Hidden risk beneath the surface. Queenslanders know more than anyone else in Australia that flooding is a very real concern. Yet, Form 2 does not require sellers to disclose whether the property has ever officially been affected by flooding or is at risk of flooding in the future. Why? Great question. It's because the local councils do not have a uniform definition of what constitutes flooding. Therefore, without a definition, it's hard to create a statewide policy that applies to all local council areas. Therefore, the Form 2 expressly points buyers to local councils and government resources like Floodcheck Queensland and the Australian Flood Risk Information Portal. The warning is crystal clear. It's the buyer's job to make inquiries. That means even if the property has been underwater before, you won't see it listed on a Form 2. If you don't check, you may only find out after settlement when it's too late. Number 2, building approvals. Council compliance is not guaranteed. Many homeowners have extensions, decks, sheds, or renovations. Buyers often assume that if it exists, it must be approved. But the Form 2 makes it very clear. The seller does not warrant structural soundness, and the seller does not guarantee building or improvements have the required approvals. That means that a new carport could be unapproved. A renovated bathroom might not meet code. If council later issues a show cause or enforcement notice, it becomes your problem, not the seller's. They've got their money and they've run off into the hills. To protect yourself, you need to run council searches to check approvals, engage a licensed building and pest inspector, and review reports before you commit or insert a special condition to protect your interests. Unless you do your due diligence up front, buyers risk inheriting expensive headaches. Often it's not even a thought until it's too late. And number 3, asbestos, the silent hazard. Asbestos remains one of the most dangerous materials found in Queensland homes. Yet under the Form 2, sellers do not have to confirm whether asbestos is present. The disclosure is blunt. Homes built before 1990 may contain asbestos. Asbestos-containing materials were used until the early 2000s. It becomes dangerous when damaged, disturbed, or deteriorates. Rather than disclose, the form simply points buyers to the government asbestos website. In other words, it's your responsibility to investigate. If you're buying a property built before the 2000s, arranging an asbestos inspection is highly recommended. The cost of removing it safely can be significant, and it's not something you want to discover after moving in. Unless, of course, you want to risk spending excessive money should you decide to renovate in the future and discovering the presence of asbestos. Ain't nobody got time for that. Why this matters for buyers and sellers. Form 2 is a major step forward in improving disclosure, but the omissions mean it's not a full story. For buyers, don't rely solely on the Form 2. The contract, searches and inspections are just as critical. Missing something like a flood overlay, unapproved structure or asbestos can cost thousands and create long-term stress. For sellers, be aware that buyers will likely order searches and inspections anyway. It's almost always better to know that issues exist early and disclose transparently rather than expose yourself to unnecessary stress, i.e. risk disputes, termination, ambiguity later. The Empire Legal approach. At Empire Legal, we don't just tick boxes or press a button to produce a Form 2 using technology. We get our lawyers to uniquely draft every single Form 2 in detail. Explain clearly what's included and what isn't. Our service is more than the minimum requirements. In fact, it's the opposite. Our client leaves with knowledge and advice to give them the peace of mind that their property deal is protected. We're running the right searches to make sure you're not left with hidden surprises, and of course, overall, protecting our clients. With over 12,000 clients helped, over 2,700 5-star reviews on Google, and a practitioner serving on the PEXA Practitioner Advisory Council, which is 25 lawyers across Queensland donating their time to make our industry better, we've seen it all, and we know where the risks hide. Whether you're buying or selling, our team makes sure you go in with your eyes wide open. Ready to protect yourself under the new disclosure laws? Whether you're buying or selling, contact Empire Legal today and let us guide you through your property transactions with confidence. Guys, like, subscribe and share. We want the algorithm to find us so we can help more Queenslanders buying and selling property across the state. Thanks, we'll see you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep in mind that all advice is general in nature and does not constitute legal advice.